All right, welcome back to the Greater in Me podcast. Welcome to the Greater in Me podcast. Welcome to the Greater in Me podcast.
That
Yeah,
was so bad.
because welcome to the Greater in Me podcast. Like, you got to be lit about it, or what?
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back.
Like, I'm Josh.
I'm Tara.
Exactly. Like, welcome back. Get lit, get live. Welcome to the Greater in Me podcast. Like, I'm telling you, it's gonna be on a DJ set one day. Like, welcome to the Greater in Me podcast. Greater. Okay, let's stop. Anyways, how are y'all doing? How are you doing? How was your day today?
Oh, it was good. It was all right. Not
That's
that eventful. I just don't have much to say about my days these days. I start class tomorrow, so I guess that's exciting.
You don't even know where it is.
I don't. I thought it was online. Now it's sudden it's in person. I don't really know. How are you?
So tell them the email you got.
Yeah, my professor emailed me yesterday morning actually, and I just opened it before we started recording because I was looking through my email, and she was like, "Hey, just so you know, class starts tomorrow morning in this room." And I said, "Room? Why are we being given a location other than Zoom?"
Maybe it's like a virtual room, or like a.
I don't think so. We'll find out because I sure did email back talking about. I thought this was virtual, so
Wow. Well, I had a pretty. It was like a decent day. Like, I have classes on Friday too, so that kind of icky, but it's fine. Like, had a quiz. Not really sure how that went, but he said the class did pretty okay. He was grading them as soon as we turned it in. So
I know you did
I
good.
was,
You're fine.
yeah. Whatever. He said it was like you could just because the quizzes don't count that much in the class. So it's like a practice because like the what did he say, the midterm or the final is gonna have the same questions. So you just think of this as practice. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But like that's
That's
still
nice.
yeah. But yeah, okay. I got some fast questions. Well, these are not so fast, but like it's would you rather questions. So like answer as fast as you can. But like
Okay.
you know.
Are you answering too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Would you rather be famous or rich?
Rich.
Would you rather lose all your money or all of your memories?
All of uh, all of my money?
Um
You gotta answer the last one and this one.
oh, rich. And this one I think I'd rather lose all of my. Yeah, I don't know because I feel like with new money I can make some more memories and be okay. But
Like your memories make who you are, no? I mean, I don't know. That was hard.
the wholesome answer is money, so that is what I'll say. Would you rather be stuck in an elevator with a group of men suffering from chronic gas or a group of women suffering from body odor?
A group of women suffering from body odor.
Why?
Because at least they're women. Like both scenarios, it smells a mess. So I'd rather be with women than men. Because if it was men, I'd just be looking at you actually crazy. I don't know. What about you? Would it be men?
I don't know. Can you hear that?
Huh?
Can you hear the music?
No, only if I actually really try and listen.
But I think
Oh, I can kind of hear I can hear the bass.
yeah, guys, my residents just go crazy every time. I don't know actually because I actually hate both things. I hate body odor. I'm tempted to say gas only because like the gas will evaporate. Somebody's BO is there as long as they're there with
Okay, but
you.
it's chronic gas, so the gas is not gonna stop. And gas also just smells like poop.
But I may have 1 or 2 seconds of like a moment, a breath, like a moment, Even if Even if it's just that 1 or 2 seconds, somebody's BO is with you as long as they're standing next to you.
Um, we can agree to disagree because there's no
Okay.
ventilation in a elevator.
Yeah, that is true, especially if you're stuck in one.
I think blue scenarios are bad, so it's just like whatever.
Okay, cool. Would you rather marry someone or love? Wait, would you rather marry someone who loves you or marry someone you love?
Love me.
Why?
Because I'm not like I don't think I could put my all into a marriage with like giving my all because I love you, but you don't love me. Versus if someone was showing me a bunch of love, I feel like I could learn to love them, or like I would at least respect them, even if I didn't love them.
I guess. I guess it's all a part of the chase because you still. Yeah, I would say the same thing. Um, would you rather live a poor life with your loved ones or a wealthy life all by yourself?
A poor life with my loved ones.
I like to be somewhere in the middle.
I mean, yes, but it's would you rather?
We gotta meet somewhere in the middle for that one for me because there's no way you can even live a poor life anymore in this. I mean,
Listen,
like
you when you're poor, when y'all are all broke together, like
you're thriving, but it's like there's no way we can even get to a point of actually thriving if everybody around me is poor.
right, but it's would you rather? Like, would you rather be broke, but you like you're around your loved ones, so y'all can still make light out of a really horrible situation, or you are alone in a castle, like there's nobody around.
I wouldn't be in the council, but I might be in my uh penthouse. I don't mind being alone. I want my loved ones with me, but
Yeah, but that's not an option.
I'm gonna remain unanswered. Um, would you rather know everything or understand everything?
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I want either. I think I'd rather understand everything because if I'm gonna
Really?
know it, I might as well like understand it for real. Like,
If you know it, you said you might as well understand it.
yeah.
That's interesting. That's a good perspective. I think I'm gonna choose no for
Why?
the sake of or huh. I think I'm gonna choose no because like if I have the knowledge of something, I can at least participate in the conversation. And listen to everybody. If I understand everything, there's no point in me even like talking to people, right? Because like I feel like when you talk to people, there's some level of understanding that you're trying to get out of like the conversation, whether to the person or the topic you're discussing, or like the room you're in, or like whatever's going on. Like if I went to class and I already understood everything, I would actually, as much as I don't want to be in school now, I would never. I guess I wouldn't go to school, but you know what I'm saying. I would never be able to make it through like all these years of school.
I mean,
But if I
that's
don't know.
interesting. That's an interesting take, honestly. Because the thing about it is, I feel like as humans, we want to understand everything. Like our whole search is to understand. So
Yeah,
if we had the ability to fully understand everything, I feel like we could share our understanding with the world, no?
yeah, but would that just boost our egos even more?
Probably. But even knowing or understanding anything, I think that you would just be really cocky regardless.
I mean, no, because like we could know that the
You
sky
know
is
you hate a
blue.
person who thinks they know everything.
Yes, who
So
thinks they
imagine
know everything?
actually knowing everything.
That's what I'm saying. But if you actually knew everything, like just knowing something doesn't mean you understand it, though. You know what I'm saying? So you know that the stove is hot, but we didn't learn not to touch it until we like until we touched it and understood that, oh shoot, like it hurts,
Yeah.
no matter how many times like our mom said don't touch the stove, you know what I'm saying? That was
Yeah.
just like a rebellion in us, like, oh, I'm gonna touch that stove. And
Hmm.
then it's like, oh, now I understand, like it's hot or it's something about this is off.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like the knowledge, I don't know, understanding, but I feel like if I know everything, I gotta eventually get to a point of understanding it.
Yeah. So you might as well understand.
I guess that's just a tricky question. Okay, would you rather be a beautiful dummy or an ugly idiot?
A beautiful dummy. I'm so sorry. In this culture, in this shit, sorry, like not to sound vain, but be for real.
um, I don't know because I feel like I also like to be out the way sometimes. Because I feel like a lot of times I'm already acting dumb, so people leave me
My
alone.
thoughts right now are
So I feel like if
insane.
I could just actually be dumb, people hate to say it. I feel like if I could actually be dumb and like be ugly, oh my god, that's even less attention on me.
I well, I just think that like you're not actually deeping it for real. Cause like if you were wait, what was it again? Be beautiful and dumb or ugly and what? Know
Beautiful
everything?
dummy, ugly idiot. No,
Oh, an
ugly and
ugly
idiots.
idiot. Oh yeah, then beautiful
Yes.
dummy. That's the question.
Okay, what if
Beautiful
it was
dummy and ugly like excellent mind.
genius? What if it was, yeah, yeah, yeah. What if you were an ugly genius though? Which one then?
I would still be a beautiful dummy. And this was what I was gonna say because I just feel like this sounds so bad. And this is how backwards I feel like our society is, maybe. But it's just like no matter no matter how much brains you have, if you're actually like let me stop talking.
What?
I don't think anyone is ugly. But it's like if you were actually like well,
Well, well, it's like you could be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't got your work for it, I'm sorry, man. We're not promoting it. I'm just like,
like yeah, right. Right. Um,
no, but that is true, and we can really
getting
that
so
is that is true though because we'll promote like a beautiful dummy before we promote the actual person who's competent or like who's
Mhm.
actually know what they're doing just because of like the way they look, especially men, right? Like men are gonna promote like or they're gonna people talk about it all the time. Like they're gonna look at the person who looks good just for the sake of something, even if they don't even know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's interesting. But Tara just said you ain't got no place. The world thinks you.
That is not a thing other than I would choose to be a beautiful dummy.
Okay, okay. Today's topic is we're gonna dive deeper into like intentionality and
Mm.
just accepting who you are and running with that in the world. So Tara, tell us, how do you decipher when to like where to choose, like where to place your time, where to place your efforts, how to what do you do to try to remain best to yourself in the purpose?
Um, well, one, I feel like I try not to lean too much on my feelings or like have a good balance between like obviously leaning on my feelings, acknowledging they're there, like feeling them, but also
Mhm.
just like holding on to like the realization and knowledge that like some things aren't gonna feel great or like feel good or feel fun, but they are necessary to like my journey and like whatever. Kind of like we were talking about last night. Um, but I think that I strive or I try to surround myself, especially when it comes to like people, pouring into people who somewhat pour to me. Like it doesn't always have to be equal, but think it's really important to still gain something from my relationships. And then when it comes to like my time, I feel like I would be lying to myself if I say that, I'm only putting in my time to things that are like gonna be beneficial to me or help like steward my growth, because I definitely don't like
Totally,
spend my time perfectly, but I definitely try to like use my time wisely.
totally. Wait, because we were talking. What did you say we were talking about last night? Um, for me, it's like, yeah, it's right. Like sometimes it is hard to like decide what's best for you, and I feel like in those situations, I think that I'm making the best decision, and I'm like, okay, cool. But like for me, I've been learning how to say no. Like that was my one thing that I, honestly, since like when I came to college, that's when I finally like the defining like factor in my life. Like I gotta learn how to say no, especially
Hmm.
after that first year. Like people will really just use and abuse you, use you for like when they need something, and it just it didn't cater to my time well or anything. I've been in situations where people, I've always say that like networking, it has so many pros but so many cons because like I feel like also in like the young adult space, like we take it as just like a means of being fake to people to get what we need, and like that's just the way it is in the world, right? Like that's what everybody does. Instead of just actually showing up as your authentic self and then like doubling on that and like seeing what other people can do for you, instead of just trying to like go and see immediately what somebody can do for you and like how are you gonna like live up to that expectation so they believe or like can think one way about you for a certain time period until you get the job or until you get the call, until you get whatever it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know, honestly, it's hard for me. But nowadays, listen, if it's out of the, I'm not doing too much more. Okay, I'm already busy, so and sometimes you really just have to tell people, I think that's what's best for me, and move on. Like
Yeah.
you can't tell me what you think is best for me,
Yeah.
right? Like the other day, like with my teacher, like or my professor, they wanted to have me in a class, and like though I wanted to be in the class, it just didn't work out, and I don't think it was the best thing for me. Um, no matter how much they tried to persuade me into doing it, but it was just too much. Like I chasing a career right now, and I'm trying to like weigh out the battles. But yeah, what else? What did you say we were talking about last night?
Um, I guess before I talk about that, I like the fact that you say you had to learn how to say no, because I think that that's actually something super hard. I think that also plays into like people pleasing tendencies, which is like a whole thing that a lot of people have to overcome. So yeah, proud of you.
But it's also kind of like
Uh,
embedded in us though too, because
yeah,
we learn from like a young age to please people. Don't forget your thought. But we learn from like a young age to like, to me the whole point of school is like pass the test so that I know that you know what I'm talking about. So I think some of it comes from that too. It's just like, but then we realize that everybody's not good at taking tests, so it's not a good accurate measurement of like somebody's learning growth or like what they thought about. But also just like you want to be liked by people to a certain extent. So it's like you try to, make up for that or in other ways that you know that you lack, or you lack, character maybe, or that you're trying to build on something else. So you overindulge in other areas of your character or in your life to show that like you're okay or like, so it's like give or take. I feel like, yeah, all of that. But go ahead with your thought.
nah, last night we were kind of just talking about school, the education system, and even timing with that, and how, because what I had said earlier was just the fact that, like, obviously, I have to take my feelings into account, but my feelings can't be what leads me. So acknowledging the fact that like while I'm in school, it may suck. Um, However, I need it to get to where I need to go. So it's like being able to, well, being able to like balance the two things. Definitely I think it's a learning curve because if you lean too much into the other, it can get whatever. But we were just talking about how, we're in school in this time, in this season of our lives. And the everyday battles, the everyday like mental like thought process that goes into just living your day, like what your day to day looks like, how you feel like you're allotting time to certain things. And in some seasons, it may seem like everything you're doing is a waste of time. Or in other seasons, it seems like you're putting too much time into one thing while you want to put your time into something else, but you don't know how to balance the two things. Um, so yeah, I just feel like this conversation just ties into like it's kind of a continuation of what we were even talking about last night.
Because is
Um,
school really necessary?
I don't know. I think it depends on what you want to do. Why you're like, I feel like this might be problematic, and I've not even thought this thought through, so I don't even know for real. But I think even just like the reasoning to why we go to school, I think that too many of us go to school just because it is written out as the next step in like the process and the journey. But not enough of us have actually questioned if we want to go. Like it's not even like a choice that we're actually making anymore. It's just something that like we've been brainwashed into truly believing has to be the next step. And that's what we do. Um, But I think even that's problematic because if you don't actually, if you're not going for yourself and you're going for others, just like anything else, like you can't live your life for other people. So why are we going to school for other people if you don't want to be there? However,
And why?
I think we still have to like take the society that we're in into account when making those decisions as well. Because just because I don't want to go doesn't mean that I shouldn't go. But I don't know. Like I don't think I've given it enough thought or actually
Fair,
processed it.
fair. Here's my thought. Why are we going to school just for people to graduate and still have the hard time getting the job with the degree that you said that they needed to have the job? Because if that's the point, then we don't really need it anymore because all it is now is a who you know world, no matter what. And like, yeah, you said the point about going to school if you have to go, like being a doctor, lawyer, whatever, such and such, right? But at the end of the day, we'll talk about medical school. After that, or a part of medical school is also, depending on what you want to do, being placed in the like practice field wherever and having to like go to work too at the same time while being in school because you're going to learn everything at work that you are actually going to be doing. But the school is just so, like we were saying, the knowledge versus understanding. I have the knowledge because I've read the textbook, taken the test, but I don't understand where this applies in the field. So it's like needing that too. But it's like if I'm learning at the same time while I'm practicing, what was school for? Because most of the time at school, it's just a lot of information pounded onto you, and you're supposed to be able to regurgitate it on a test after a week or two. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what it's not proving that we've learned anything. It's proving that I studied to for the test, and right after that test, in most scenarios, if we did a study on things, people are not retaining the information. We can ask a bunch of college students. That might be a good idea, actually. What did they remember from last year? From a class that they were forced to take that's not even aligned with their
I
majors. You know
told
what I'm
you
saying?
last
Or
night. I can't remember a like this sounds so crazy. Okay guys, it is currently what? September 15th. I graduated May. Like I don't think that I could tell you a lot about my journey undergrad and mainly because partially a lot of it was traumatic and a lot of it was just like so like painful in terms of just like all the like things that you have to learn and just It's so much to balance. It's so much to balance at once.
Bruh,
But yeah.
it's just a lot for no reason though, because then it's like, case in point. And one of my industry classes the other day, it's basically a lecture class where people from the industry come in and talk to us, right? Most of the time, it's people from Syracuse because I get Thessalonica, whatever. But he came in and basically him and several others was just like network. Like basically it was like, yeah, have the resume, but network. Like the resume didn't matter as much. The stuff that we fight for every day, it didn't matter. He was like, he made a point saying that you think that like going out with your coworkers is not networking, but it is. So it's like you can go to a bar and get drunk with your coworkers, and that's networking. And mind you,
Hmm.
that was um that was very much privilege on his end because he was a Caucasian person, and that is just a fact. Like he didn't understand the fact that like somebody like me would never do that. If I
Hmm.
was like, with my friends, it's different, right? At school, right? But like not at work or like anything like that, because like we're cracking under pressure all the time as black people, and we're too considerate of like what the other person is thinking about us, especially if they're of another race. No matter how much you try to fight that and not try to make race the topic of conversation, it's just still something that's ingrained in us. And hopefully, like we can do better with the next generation. When we have kids, but, like that's just something that's ingrained in us. Like I would never do that. Like it's too, people will judge me.
No,
Like
I
they,
literally saw this video on IG. This girl was explaining the same exact scenario, except she was actually at work with her coworkers,
um,
and they had like a happy hour at work. I don't know, it was like a casual Friday or
mm-hmm,
whatever. So she worked with a bunch of white men because I think she was in the tech industry. And she's talking
okay,
about this white guy had a beer on his desk. And obviously, other people feel comfortable doing that. But she was like, I would never. And she's like, obviously,
never.
like, she's in an environment where everyone around her is doing it. But she's like, as a black woman, being hyper aware of the fact that, like, they may see him with a beer on his desk and be okay with it. I just know that if it were me, I would be looked at
It's
crazy or pushed
totally
out the
different
way.
scenario.
I just don't need to be in it. And it's like, that's crazy and that's sad, but that's reality too.
It's the harsh reality, but like also to the point of like going back to school. It the school part didn't matter because one or two things. If I did do that, there would be a consequence from that. If I didn't do that, there would be a consequence from not doing that. Right? Like they would look at me, or it would feel weird that like I didn't want to get wasted with my coworkers, right? But it would
Yeah.
also be weird if I did. So it's
Yeah.
like, what did we do? What was my degree actually? Why am I thinking so hard about like what's happening, like what people are thinking about me? Though, yes, you have your more social industries than your more like day to day work, like at the computer,
Hmm.
like filing stuff, right? Yes, there's a differentiation between those two lanes, but like I'm just not understanding, the whole concept of school anymore. It feels outlandish. It
I
feels
think
quite
you
hysterical.
also brought up the point about it being like a who you know world. And I think that who you know obviously plays such a big role. But I think that who you know still doesn't necessarily, well, depending on who you are. As black people, who you know definitely would help, but we cannot just come in with nothing, like bringing nothing to the table. And I think that that's why a lot of times even being privileged to go to schools like Syracuse or like other universities where it is a really big alumni and you can make those connections, but also being in the institution itself and having a degree to show for it, that's when the like who you know paired with the educational background makes for a perfect mix versus like maybe somebody who is white. Like maybe all they need is who you know, and that's enough. But unfortunately for us, who you know cannot carry us. Like it does a lot and it does like half the job. But I do think that we also have to have the paperwork too, just to prove to the others who are gonna question why we're in the room because someone brought us in. We gotta be like, oh, but I also do have the accolades to be here as well.
Right. That's the afterthought. It's not the first
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm actually qualified. I did all this and then I And then I have those things. The first thing is like, oh yeah, I know this guy. Like, oh yeah, she knows me. Like, come and get me, or like, they bring you up, the whole type of thing. And that's also what we were talking about, like the cycle. Like, it just is a cycle that like you're put into, and like you don't even realize how quick it is. I was saying that, like, before coming to college, I thought I was just gonna perform my whole life. Like, if somebody could just pay me to perform, that's what I want to do. That's the craft that I work on every day. Like, that's what I study. Like doing music and just doing entertainment in general. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Could do it well. Was ready to learn. Like, pick it up. It is definitely a skill and should be paid. All for paying performers a fair wage. Like, pay them because it is hard work, takes a toll on your body, mentality, like everything. Um, but the reality is that we're not there. Those people are not getting paid substantial living amounts to just live off of that. So it's like automatically like still kind of pushed into this workforce. Like, I come to college and it's like, dang, you really do got to tap into the business side to do that, or like to do the thing that like our parents always say is like make the money and then do everything else on the side and like try to build that up and then you quit the job. And I feel like this speaks to like the entitlement that our generation has, but like I don't know, I don't think we are at a point anymore where that needs to be the case. Like, I I want to do what I want to do now, and just think some people in college may know exactly already what they want to do. And I'm not saying that college doesn't teach you other things about other fields, which is, people change their majors. Like, yeah, you become more curious and you learn more about things, and like your interests may change or shift. But we're not in the same place. And it's a beautiful thing. It's not a bad thing that our parents was, and the generation before that was. College was a place for them that they, many of them, especially people like us, that was their first time, like seeing a lot more than what they had been used to in their neighborhoods or in their towns or whatever. It was the first time their minds are open to like other careers or the possibilities in their careers that they probably were majoring in. You know what I'm saying? Now we do have the media, now we have Google, now we have internet, so we come to college already knowing so much. There are billionaire college students, right? Like, they make money off of being a college influencer, right? Like, they're rich people like that, right? So it's just like, I don't know, where do we draw the line, or when do we pick up? It's also, we don't have to continue the cycle. We can change it. Like, we don't have to just keep
Yeah.
saying, oh, like, this is the way it is. Like, there's just not enough people in those positions once
I
they
think that
get
was
there.
also part of our conversation too. Is it's not like we're anti college. It's just like, okay, cool. College, cool concepts, right? But why does
Right.
it still look like the way it looked like many, many years ago? Like, why are we still replicating the same system that honestly isn't that great and doesn't yield as much fruitful results that it could? Because I'm not gonna lie, I will say college is one of a kind in the sense that life is so weird. Like, you're in such a weird space in college because you're around so many students who are all kind of pursuing the same thing, but just obviously like in different careers, different paths of life. But it's like you're all around the same age. Like, we all come with a very similar mindset, but also very different. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like, college taught me a lot, but a lot about people and a
Yeah.
lot about life. I wouldn't say like academically, like, obviously I learned from my academics, but how much did I actually retain? I don't know. But I think that college is still a really beautiful space to be in, and you can benefit a lot from college. We were even talking about like maybe even just the time or how much it costs, or just like the actual system itself, like the quality of education that we actually do receive in terms of what do we actually learn in our classrooms? How much do our professors actually care, or our TAs? Like, it's like the bigger picture. Because the concept of college, cool. But why does it actually just look exactly the same? And from what we see, doesn't have any plans on changing. When we know that our professors had to sit through what we went through and it probably sucked for them, but they're not doing anything to change it. And it
Because
continues.
that's the way the system goes. Like, no, like
Right.
I feel
Right.
like, nah.
And it's just
And
like, it
it's
kind of sucks.
it kind of sucks that it really does suck, actually. But it's just weird. And like, to go back to like living intentionally, like sometimes these are the distractions in place. I feel like distractions are not of, you know what I'm saying? Like that is not of God. And I feel like sometimes, we try to brainwash ourselves into thinking that like, oh, I'm on the right track. I gotta do this, and it's just like, like actually, I don't need to be here. And I
Mhm.
think that's also the scary thing is that realizing when something is not necessary for you or something is not the thing that is for you, but you still have to show up to it is the hard part because it's like, man, I'm just in this class and I'm just showing up because I've enrolled in college and someone says that I can't drop out, or someone says that I gotta take this, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, man, I gotta deal with these people because, or certain people, it's like, and I know for a fact that like, like your intuition just tells you things like that. Discernment is so strong, and I sometimes, and I think sometimes like when you're not sure, to go back to your point of like what to do, like a lot of us just went to college because like it was the next productive thing to do after high school, like um and how are we supposed to choose our way of living like this if we're just like you're just thrown into the like force, right? But it's like in college, you're saying you learn a lot about just people, and I think that's what people always say. Oh, college is your 4 years. That's when you learn like about people, or you learn like how to navigate life. Because like yeah, you essentially are an adult, but like you're still a dependent. Like you're a dependent adult on someone else, basically. Not everyone, but like yeah, like you're still like there's some safety net in college, which is like why people
College
say
is
like go to
literally a
college.
fake, like
It's
simulated
fake life, yeah. So that
reality. Yeah,
that like after college, you have to actually do everything on your own. Like
very
even
much.
when it dwindles down to disciplinary action, like if it's like on a lower scale, like not like a federal offense thing, like the university has stuff in place um, for that type of thing. So you're not actually like having to go, to the real like real prison or like real disciplinary actions or the fines. You know what I'm saying? That whole type of
Yeah,
thing. And it's like, it's just teaching you to me how to be a prison mate or how to be a prisoner in our own country. Like, it's just like, don't do this way and don't even try to step outside the lines or
yeah,
you have to follow this certain path to get the six figures, eight, nine. You know what I'm saying? Or to live a life, to live a
yeah.
sustainable life, to have the wealthy life with your family and not alone. It's like,
Mhm. I think too, you sent me a video earlier, which I didn't even know would really tie into this, but this is what made me think about. But like sometimes, or okay, what it was a sermon. What the pastor had said is, you don't realize you're asleep till you wake up.
hmm,
And I feel like what it is a lot of our childhood,
hmm,
somewhere along the line, we fall asleep and we don't realize we're asleep. And I feel like a lot of times college is the wake up. And then you're like, whoa. You're like, whoa, where did this come from? When did I fall asleep? You have all of this coming at you. And I feel like for a lot of people, it's them waking up to the realization that, like, maybe I didn't have to do this. Or, like, wait, why am I literally taking out student loans to get in debt when I leave, but I still am leaving without answers? Or it's whatever it is, they're waking up. And I feel like maybe for a lot of us, we wake up a little too late. And I don't know, like we just have to figure it out once we wake up because we already are in it, right? Um, but maybe the goal is to
like
wake up
we've pressed
before.
snoozed way too many times.
maybe or like what? The society around us is what's doing the snoozing. Like we try to wake up and then they're like, shh, go back to bed. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They're like,
like
no, go back to bed. But like the
that's
more
actually
we keep waking
sick.
up, the more we're like, wait. And they're like, nah, go back to bed. That's the brainwashing. It's go back to sleep.
Don't say nothing
I
out
don't
loud.
know.
Keep it hush hush. Keep it to
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Don't tell the others. You peeped, but keep it down low. It's like, ooh,
And the imagery I have in my head is crazy right now because that's sick. That's actually sick.
it's like because like your days are so repetitive. We talk about that all the time in college, and I think it's the same too. Like right after, like you go to work. Like we hear our mom say it all the time. I work, I come home, I pay the bills. Like that's just all it is. Work, pay bills, repeat. Like my mom always says that. And it's so true because it's like, why? I just don't get it. Like, why am I doing the same thing every day? Time stops. Every time I come back to the school, I'm like, time doesn't feel real because it
Mm,
just
that's really
stops. Like,
true, actually.
it just, the same thing happens every single day. Like, every single day. And it's like, how are we supposed to live according to a purpose or according to, if everyone's just putting me into a box based on what they think I can do? Hello? Who do you think you are? Telling me what you think I can do and cannot do. Like, pause. Let's reroute
Nah,
you
you're
and
trying to
send the
wake
other
up, but
way.
they're trying to put you back to sleep. They're trying to put you back to sleep. That's all it is. But I feel like the moment we're able to wake up to who we truly are, we got the rest of our lives to truly figure it out for real. But I think that's when we actively have to make the choice of then like, okay, then what is the game plan? And then that's when the living intentionally starts because you can't even live intentionally when you're asleep. Like it only starts after the wake up.
And that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like it also changes as you get older because, like, in high school, again, like, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to go on to perform after school. Like, that was what I was going to do, bruh. But it's like at the
Hmm.
same time, people are like, "Oh, just stay a kid." You complain about high school. They're like, "Oh, just wait, yeah, just wait a little longer." Like, oh, were they saying that because they knew that I could not live a life off just performing? Like, I feel connected. Like, I feel like I'm doing what's in my will, what's in my purpose. I'm telling a story. I'm getting emotional. We vibing on stage. The cat, like
Hmm.
we lit. Like I'm singing this song. I'm telling a story. I wrote a song. Like this is a good story. Like I'm talking about life right now. People's lives are changing. Like they getting emotional. They telling me it's good, or like they feeling some type of way, and they're like, just keep running, kid, keep doing it. Go to it because you never.
Yeah.
I'm like in their minds, I feel like they were just saying keep doing it because it stops one day. Like you can't do this for the rest of your life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, dang.
I think it was more just like a gentle reminder of like what reality is. Even though like who is to say that you can't create your own reality? And I
Right.
think that that dream is placed in your heart for a reason. That desire you had to perform was placed in your heart for a reason. And like we know this though because we talk about it all the time like on the pod and off the pod like this world always tries to squeeze us into something, like to put us back into something, to try and make sense of what may not make sense to other people, you know? Like if you're telling somebody what your dream is or you're bearing your like vision of one day being on stage and performing or doing whatever what that is placed in your heart and you feel connected to and you feel is like a calling for you, but someone cannot understand that or they've let reality or life jade them so much to the point where they feel like they have to warn you that nah, like I see you and I hear you, but no, that's not gonna work. They're like they
Right.
in their eyes, they're doing what seems right for them, like to warn you of like maybe how hard it's gonna be or the fact that like there's nothing that looks like what you're trying to replicate right now in real world. Like there's nothing like that right now. So they're trying to warn you that like nah, like I understand what you're saying your vision is or what your dream is, but that's
But
not
it's like,
reality.
no, that's not
But it's like
enough.
nah, like hold on to that because there's a reason that you feel that way.
But it's also just like they be saying like it's just that they're like, oh, it's not enough, or it's not enough to make it, or it's not enough to do this with. And that to me, people just don't know. And like that's why I never tell somebody else what they can't do because I don't know what's in you, what's not in you.
Hmm.
I truly do not know. And I think too, like going back to saying no, I'll never. I try to remain cognizant of like not peer pressuring people to do stuff, and not always. I think when we say peer pressure, we think of like certain scenarios, but like in any form, like um, if my friend doesn't want to go somewhere with me, he just don't want to go. Like it, period, point blank. Like maybe he just know he's not supposed to be there, or nothing there, so like it just don't want to go, or don't want to do something, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, because it's like I don't know what's in it for you. You know what I mean? Like I don't just like you don't know what's in it for me, or
Like how can I tell you what year tomorrow is when I don't even know what mine is for real. Like, who are we to tell anybody what they can or can't do? Which also, a little switch up. I have a question for you. Because I feel like we're in a era, or maybe it's just because it's trending. The word delulu or delusion. Um, how do you like now after having this conversation? It's like, how do you feel like us almost embracing the idea of like I hear a lot all the time now, or like I'll see people post it like, I hope all your delulu comes true, because I think that sometimes you're genuinely like expressing your desire to achieve something in life, or you're expressing a dream that you've had or you feel connected to. But because it genuinely doesn't make sense for people, or they can't even grasp the idea of it, it's boxed as delusional, or it's boxed as like a fever dream or unattainable. Which, okay, yes, I know it's a stretch because sometimes people are generally just delulu, and but you know what I mean? Like, I think that sometimes people are
Yes.
genuinely. Let me speak for myself because my friends all think I'm super delusional. I told Josh it's not delusion, it's crazy faith.
It's,
But no, I think sometimes, like, and I'm not saying that at times I can't be delusional because I am. I think that, like,
need some
especially
medicine.
sometimes like that delulu is people really just expressing what they really like, their heart's desire, and who's to say it can't
No, for
become
sure.
true, you know? Like, I do hope your delulus become reality, like, because I feel like that's amazing. Like, it's only delusion for some people because they're not able to comprehend what you are, perhaps. So that's my
I
question.
feel you.
Are
I
we
feel
leaning
you.
into the delulu, or are we throwing it away?
The problem with delusion is that it actually does need to be added into the medical practice because it truly is a sickness. Um, some people, some people lead with their delusion, and I think that's where we have the problem
Okay, what are we
because it's
defining
like,
delusion as? Actually, let me find the definition for delusion.
go ahead and Google it. But I think delusion is fine. Everybody has a sense of delusion, right? We want that life that we are making up in our minds. You got it?
Yeah. It says characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite in contra. Hmm, I don't know how to read this
And
word. um, despite evidence to the contrary, as a symptom of a medical condition. Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, it says based on or having faulty judgment. But like, to who?
faulty,
Like, yeah,
false.
some things can like. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, here's here's where
Look,
I'm gonna land
she's gonna
this
go hard
time.
for it, y'all, because she's.
Here's where I'm about to go hard for it. I'm a land. I'm a land. Just hear me out.
Go ahead.
So we've talked about this before, where there is an objective truth. I think that when it comes to an objective truth and delusion being like believing something that is false, if it's contrary to the objective truth, fair enough, you're being delusional. However, we all like to claim that we all live in our own truths, and everyone has their own truth for what is okay, what's not okay. When it comes to other people's individual ideal of what is truth for them and what is truth for you, that is still in alignment with that objective truth when it comes to you. I think you're allowed to be delusional in that sense. Because if, and that's where it comes to like, okay, what are we allowed? If we're thinking outside of the box that people are stuck in, then to them, we are delusional. But if it's still in alignment with that objective truth or what he's saying, then let me be delusional. Call me delusional
But
because
that's the
I'm delusional
thing.
to you.
But that's the
I'm
thing.
not
That's the thing.
delusional
That's
to
the
him.
thing. No, 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 no. That's the thing, though, because delusion is something false. So if it is in him, if it is in the Lord, it's not false. It's just not evident to everyone, right? Like that in that case is faith, because what? We're just hoping on something that we cannot see. So if it's in him, that is not false.
Right,
But
but what I'm
the
saying
delusion,
is some
but
people, their delusion
no,
is just faith.
But no, some people's delusion is just a sickness, bro. I think what you're
Yo,
saying
maybe
earlier,
I
which
should.
but what you're getting at, I think sometimes people, okay, yes, if it's contrary to the objective truth, yeah, that may be delusion. But I think what people really get tight with is the fact that you may be projecting your delusion on someone else. Like you want to believe so bad that it's not gonna rain tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh, it can't rain tomorrow. It can't rain. It can't rain tomorrow. It's gonna
Mhm,
rain. Like it says a 90% chance of rain. Like
mhm.
we're gonna plan that it's gonna rain. We're gonna plan that or I didn't study for the test, so I'm gonna something's gonna happen. Class is gonna get canceled or we
Wait, that's why have I done that before? God is moving mountains for me. Because exactly the exam. Best believe the professor's about to catch a cold. COVID-19.
but no. But I think that's actually so
That's
sick.
not crazy.
You're wishing that your professor gets COVID-19 is
Nah,
crazy,
no, no, no.
right? Also, because people, that's delusion. Because life is still gonna happen. I think that's where people like get tight. Because delusion is a sickness. It needs to be studied. I think there's a level of delusion that you can have to like have the faith, have the false hope that this is going to be turning out different than the way that we already know it's going to be. But when we get to the point that you are everything that happens you have another view for or you have another opposing eye because you want it to be rainbow clouds and that is a sickness. Like it's not like
Yeah,
that
no, no,
actually.
no.
The sky is actually
But
blue.
I
It's
think
actually
that's
gonna
actually a
rain
different
tomorrow.
thing. I think that's you being in denial. Like, I think they're all different things, which I think I'm going to stop, guys. This bit was fun. I'm not like, I'm not like promoting like mental like illness or like actual delusion. I just feel like sometimes we have to be careful what we call like, like, cause I do, like, I'm gonna stand by my statement where I do think that like, genuinely sometimes people are speaking out dreams or they're speaking out what they hope for and they
For
don't have to
sure.
involve you, but people are like, that's, you're being delusional, and it's like, but I'm not even being delusional for real. Like, I'm actually,
Yeah.
like, even me, I say this all the time around all my friends and they all laugh and it's okay, but I know in my heart of hearts that I'm going to be successful. Maybe not success in the way the world defines it or whatever, but I just know that to be my truth. Call me delusional, call me whatever. But it's just like a knowing that I have. And I think that like we
Yeah.
do that a lot with a lot of people. Is like people may actually be trying to speak out life or like speak out something that they truly believe to be like attainable for themselves. And people are really like, nah, you're being delusional. I feel
Yeah.
like when it's actual delusion, okay. Like when I'm actually being crazy, I probably know I'm being crazy, you know. But I do think
Yeah.
that there's sometimes things where I'm not even being delusional for real. Like y'all just don't want to believe for it with me, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Because that's also to the point. God just didn't reveal that to you yet. I be saying that to
Yeah.
people. Don't tell me what you. I'll tell people like this gonna happen, and they be like, I don't know. I be like, that's okay. God put me here to
Mhm.
tell you because He revealed it
Mhm.
to me. The Holy Spirit let
Yeah.
me know, and I'm just putting you on game. Believe it or not, but that's
Yeah.
what it is. Um, but yeah, I think for the sake of like speaking to your truth, no one can call that delusional unless you're speaking to the truth that is a part of you, but also a part of someone else's livelihood as well.
Mhm.
So that's where the line is a little mushy because other people start to
Yeah.
speak to things that I know I see. You know, if you just want it to be this way so bad that you're convincing your mind, you're brainwashing your mind that you
Yeah.
have to do this thing, that you have to be here
Yeah.
because of whatever circumstance. You know what I'm saying? But no, for sure. I do believe there is
Yeah.
a clear line in like knowing the objective truth and like
Well,
the
I hope
calling
we
or
take this
whatever.
conversation too seriously. I'm just playing y'all. Just jokes.
And we just gotta live. Like but also to the point of delusion, delusion is probably just that lightheartedness that adds to life, like when life is crazy. Like, oh, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna believe that it's
Yeah.
not raining bats and fire and bolts and nails
Yeah.
outside. But yeah, that's pretty solid, I guess. But pray for Tara, y'all. Y'all see her delusion does go over the line that we don't want it to cross.
Amen.
I don't know. But yeah, did I answer the question though?
Okay. Yeah. We just talked about Delulu, and that's all I really wanted to talk about. So, yeah.
She wants people to believe in her delusion that she set out for everyone else. That is not the
No, no,
reality of the
okay,
situation.
no. Relax.
Okay, guys. Well, that about wraps up this episode. We had a great conversation. Let us know what you think about delusion. Are you team delusion? Are you team in the middle or team total sickness? Seek help. It's not real. Let us know. We'll, we'll respond. We'll keep the conversation going. We may have to talk about this again. Who knows?
Yeah.
But what's one thing that's greater in you?
Um,
Delusion.
right. Hey, one thing that is greater in me is nah, like in all seriousness. I don't know. I might have said this in another episode. But one thing that's greater in me is faith, because I feel like the world lacks faith, and I got a lot of faith. Um, that all things will work out together for His glory and my good. So that's the faith that I'm holding on to. That's the truth that I know, and yeah. But I also want to bring back us saying what is one thing we wish were greater in us, because um, we're not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I also wish that yeah, I wish that trust was greater in me. I think maybe for the trust episode I said trust was one thing that was greater in me. I'm not saying that it's not there, but I want to work on not allowing doubt to hold too much place, cuz obviously doubts will come and you will like doubt yourself in certain seasons of life. I think that's just part of human nature and like just going through hard things. But not allowing it to fully take root or like not allowing it to lead me in any sense. Like I want to truly just hold on to my trust in God and like what I'm also capable of and like achieving. So yeah.
Okay, for me, I'm gonna say I don't know if I've said this before. I probably have. I'm gonna say my discernment because it'll let me know
You
when
said that
somebody's
last
delusion.
episode.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, but you can say it again.
Oh, well, yeah, because it speaks to different aspects in life. Because in this scenario, it lets me recognize when somebody's delusion has gone too far off the roads, and when I need to, acknowledge it for what it is and keep it moving. As for something I wish was greater in me is, I don't know what I should call it, but um, like not believing in what other people have said about me, like what they've said I can do, like should you know what I'm saying, like what they've said I can do with,
Perception, like or
yeah, not believing their perception of me or not.
yeah.
I just wish that and obviously, yeah, like I know who I am, what I am, like what's going on, whose I am too, but just not letting that stuff get to my head because like especially in the collegiate like atmosphere, like as a student, you can kind of like feel the pressure of your professor sometimes and like what they want you to do, but versus like what you know is like kind of good for you or what isn't good for you, but you're still kind of navigate that because they're trying to tell you that you're not old enough or wise enough to make that decision, but at the same time want you to be the adult. So just navigating that space, I just wish um, sound mind is how I can wrap it up. I wish a sound mind was I had more of that. Um,
Okay.
so yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for
This was
watching.
so fun. This was a
This
good
was very
episode.
fun.
I laughed a
I got to know us a
lot.
little bit more.
Yeah.
Right, we did laugh. You laugh a lot in every episode.
Yeah, but this time it was like we were laughing. Sometimes we were dying for some of them.
Talking about some. It's on that video.
We're gonna wrap it up. See y'all next week. Love you so much.
Thank you. Love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in.